Hi there, I'm Logan Medish, and this is High Caliber History. Today I'm at Milestone Auctions in Willoughby, Ohio, looking at some of the firearms in their upcoming premiere sale on October 29th and 30th. And one of the guns that we have here is a Colt Single Action Army. But it's not just any Colt Single Action Army. It's what's referred to as a government buyback Single Action Army. Very unusual history and story to these guns. And part of the story we unravel starts with the factory letter for this gun. So initially it is a standard Colt Single Action Army in .45 caliber, and it's got U.S. inspector markings on the gun, but there's a special notation in the letter that notes it as government sale, and that it was actually shipped to Schuyler, Hartley and Graham in New York on October 7th, 1874, as part of a 115 gun shipment. So what is a U.S. inspected Single Action Army doing as a government sale going to Schuyler, Hartley and Graham, which is a private distributor? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? Well, the interesting thing about it with this gun, as we take a closer look at it, we can see on the left side of the frame that it does have the U.S. inspector markings, but it's also got .45 cal stamped on the side near the rear of the trigger guard, which is more of a civilian marking. The cylinder has an A inspector's marking on it for Ainsworth, which fits with a government contract, and the barrel has a C underneath, which is for the sub-inspector Casey, but the gun is got nickel finish, and it was originally listed as a blued gun. So what in the world is going on with this? There's a lot to unpack. Well, a lot better brains and names than myself in the Colt world, including Mr. Kopik, have researched these guns heavily, and what they have determined to have been the case is that these guns were intended as part of a military contract. And indeed, they were distributed to the states. And then the guns were never actually issued, and instead, they were sold in still brand new condition to distributors. And then the distributors sold the guns back to Colt at a discounted price. But we still got the issue of these being government guns. You know, they are U.S. stamped on the left side of the frame. But of course they add the .45 cal as a civilian denotation. But really, what's the easiest way to differentiate these guns from government property guns? Well, it becomes the finish. The United States military never accepted nickeled guns. So the factory nickel plated these guns and then sent them back out into distribution for civilian sales. It's a very unusual thing to encounter. Of course, you know, Ainsworth inspected guns, or in this case an Ainsworth and Casey inspected gun, you know, military Single Action Army revolvers are a big deal. They're incredibly highly collectible. But this is one of a very small run of Single Action Armies that falls into a very different, very unusual category. Definitely not something that you see every day, and certainly something that would find itself as a jewel in anyone's collection, because I guarantee you, your friends don't have one like this. Really, really interesting gun. Well, thanks for tuning into this episode of High Caliber History, and thanks to Milestone Auctions for letting me take a look at some of the fantastic pieces that they've got. Hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you right here on the next episode.